Welcome to another Postgame Media edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. Today is Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. Ball State responded to both times Indiana tried to pull away in a very competitive road midweek game. With a one-run lead in the eighth inning, Connor Foley took to the mound and got 6 straight outs to seal victory number 31 for the Hoosiers on the year. Adrian Vega was the winning pitcher, allowing just 1 run in 2.1 innings of middle relief. Offensively, the team was led by Josh Pyne with 2 doubles and Bobby Whalen, who reached base 3 times with a double, a single, and a walk. Following the game, the media met with Foley and head coach Jeff Mercer.
You looked really dominant tonight, dominant today compared to that Ohio game. Was it a little bit easier today with not having that tying runner on second base?
Yeah, it was a little easier to come and do a clean inning, but just most importantly, just staying with my confidence out there and just attacking like Coach Glenn always preaches, and just having a great defense behind me. Like you said, the last couple outs were just tremendous defense, and that helped a lot. So
it looked like you were also using some off speed, which you didn't in your last outing, if I remember right.
Yes. Just got to develop it, and the only way to do that is throw it in the game. So I got a strike on or a foul ball on a changeup, which I've been getting some outs with, and a slider, I think, for a strikeout maybe. And it's just a work in progress. They're getting there, so I'm there at the end of the season when I need them. I can use them.
How's the mentality different this year? This is a big. In other years when I use not in contention, this year you're going to probably make the tournament. You're in contention to host a regional. So what's the mental state for you in a weekday game when it matters more this year versus other years when you're not in contention for large bids?
Our coaches and the leaders, like the seniors, like Bobby and Hunter on our team, are just do a tremendous job of saying the message that every game is a playoff game, and it is. If we want to host a regional and go far in the tournament, we got to treat every game from here on out like one. So that's just pretty much what it is, though.
When you came into your outing today, did you know you were going to get the last 6 outs?
I had a pretty decent idea. I wasn't he didn't tell me I'm 100%, but I had a pretty good idea. And like I said in the last one, I just stay ready. Staying ready is your best friend. So.
Was that something you were hungry to do, get those last 6 outs?
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
Blake Bevis had that 3-run home run earlier. It's only a 1-run game when you come up and face him again. Is there any sort of different game plan, or what was sort of your game plan to getting him out?
I honestly didn't even know he was I don't really pay attention to that. I just look at the pitch and execute it and try my best. As soon as you look at those guys and you get, there's just no reason to think about their previous at bats because you just gotta be better than them.
The diving play by Brock at first, how big was that?
Oh, it was huge. That's just like what I'm saying, a great defense behind me. It just makes pitching so much easier. Brock's an outstanding defender. Fill in the hole out there. Fly ball was really nice play too. Everything. Played great defense all game.
You've worked your way into you've been pitching well. You weren't being used in high leverage situations. Obviously, as the year's gotten on, your pitching gotten better, and now you're getting thrown into high leverage situations. So can you talk about how you've improved throughout the year to get to the point now where you're trusted, to hold on to a lead late?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the trust that the coaches have in me to put me in those situations, and you just got to prove them right, basically. You just got to go out there and shut it down like I'm supposed to and expected to do. Thanks to them and their trust in me to get the job done.
Are these midweeks have a little more importance now that you're in contention for hosting a regional and getting that large bid?
Yeah, every game is, I don't want to say of equal importance, but darn close to it, right? And I was talking about that, actually. It was funny. I was talking about that with my wife this morning before I left, and just kind of talking about how you manage and how you navigate, and as we've kind of put ourselves in that position, which is a great distinction and a great honor, and who knows, right? Like I always say, baseball is a silly game and anything can happen, but as of today, we're in that position, and I've kind of leaned into it more than I typically would or typically have, and just to have that conversation with them. I think open and honest dialogue, especially with the young team as your first time going through this experience, you kind of lean into it, and you just explain kind of all that comes with the responsibility of being in this position and being a team. So yeah, they're all important. At the same time, you have to continue to get work. You have to continue to get work in. You have to get guys out there. You have to have guys grow up. Ethan Phillips has a tremendous week last week. He didn't travel the first couple of weeks. Connor Foley, we're watching Connor Foley become a great player before our very eyes, right? You're watching him become a young man, and so you have to keep doing that because we have to have depth and we have to have the entirety of the roster. But you do the best that you can. We had 6 games, in this 6 games essentially since last Tuesday, and that's not an easy thing to overcome. So we got a little bit light on the mound today, obviously, but just to continue to persevere and find a way to win, I think is a testament to the kids, but also their mindset, understanding that every single game is incredibly valuable, as we should always understand. We only get to do this so long until someone says you can't play anymore. So we're playing the way we should play all the time, but a little bit of incentive isn't a bad thing either.
Does it make it harder for the pitching too to kind of figure that out? Like, you kind of have to go for it on Tuesdays as well.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I won't lie to you. We have to go for it every day, and to the degree that we can, that we're capable, without overusing guys, without hurting guys. We got some different guys in there today, but we held Connor on the back end. If we were in a position to win the game, we would use him. Obviously, it's a road game. It's a road RPI game, and those things are valuable, right? So we have to try to find a way to win it. But yeah, it does. It stretches the pitching thin. You're not in a position where you can just punt a game and then get back on track and line them back up. You have to show up every day to win. But like they always say, pressure is a privilege. And so that's a great privilege that we have to be in the position to be able to tax the pitching staff like that. And guess what? We have a good offense. We have a good defense. Been a couple miscues there, but primarily a good defense. And we have enough guys on the mound that are good enough to get outs. You just got to go do it. You got to go execute. You got to grow up. You got to be tough enough. You got to execute pitches and playing really good teams. Ball State's a heck of a good offense, and playing good teams like that, you get punished for your mistakes, which is a good thing, and you live and learn and get better.
You mentioned hosting a regional. This is not for you this year, but other years it puts teams in a strange situation because, like, if you're the MAC champ and you're Ball State or you're Ohio, you don't want to knock IU or Indiana State out of hosting because that probably gives you a closer regional. You're not thinking about that in the time, obviously, but how do you balance that? Because obviously you want to win a given game, but I mean, other years IU's been in that, maybe with Kentucky and Louisville, where you want to win a game, but at the same time you don't want to knock a team nearby out of a host spot, because that would be your spot close by.
Yeah. When I was at Wright State, we wanted to win every daggone game on the schedule. So, if we played Ohio State, we wanted to beat them. If we played Louisville or Kentucky or anybody else. The crazy thing about the NCAA tournament is, when I was at Wright State, we were a 4 seed my last year, which we should not have been a 4 seed. I think there was like 4 or 5 big leaguers on that team. So we got sent to Stanford, who was a number 2 overall national seed. You don't know where you're going to be sent to. There was people in the Midwest that hosted that we didn't get sent to, and we went there and played well and got beat in the 14th inning and showed really well. So it's like you don't know where you're going to go. You get sent halfway across the country when you don't think you should. You should be a 3 seed or you should be sent here. And Rich Maloney's a great coach. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and he's out here to win the ball game today. They threw their Saturday starter in the 8th. I'm sure he's just getting his bullpen work in, but that's an indication that we want to win today, right? And we've done things like that before where we'd try to win a ball game with certain guys. So they want to win. Their kids deserve the opportunity to win, and they're going to go out and go for it. And like I've told our guys, when you're in the position that we're in, which if we stay there, great. If we don't, fine. But you're going to get everybody's best shot. You're going to. It's just the nature of the beast, the nature of the game. So you're going to get Ball State's best shot today. We're going to get Maryland's best shot this weekend. You don't sneak up on anybody in the position that we're in. And I think we've leaned into it, and we understand that, and we've been mature about it. But yeah, for them, if Ball State wins the MAC, which they're a great team, they're going to dogpile and celebrate, and wherever they get sent, they'll get sent. And I'm going to tell you what, they're good enough to beat anybody in college baseball. And so, they'll be thrilled if it was, we have a long way to go to even be in the conversation realistically to host a regional. But if we ever did, they'd be thrilled to go there, or they'd be thrilled to go to Stanford like we did at Wright State, or anybody else that were to host. It's a good question, but I understand your sentiment, but those guys will be happy to go anywhere.
Connor didn't pitch as much earlier this year. Sometimes gave up a few home runs on fastballs. Increased production now. Is there something that sort of clicked for a freshman? Yeah,
he's able to get his fastball in the zone at 93 and above consistently, and he's getting it to both sides of the plate. And he's starting to land an off-speed pitch. You've got to show that there's another trick in the bag, right? If you're a one-trick pony at 92, it gets hit. If you're a two-trick pony with a fastball that gets to both sides at 93 to 96, that's a lot more effective. And I mean, you saw even some of those balls there balls inside. I mean, that you're bringing somebody's bell tower a little bit. You're throwing a 96-mile-an-hour fastball inside, and guys are a little bit quicker to the trigger, and now a fastball away drops the barrel out, and guys bottom out, and you're seeing more swing and miss. When I can only go fastball at 94 away, now I can really time it up, right? The Iowa kid, left-handed Dragoni, right? He homers to left center because he throws 6 straight fastballs away. Now it was at 97 miles an hour, but that guy's a heck of a hitter. He's going to eventually flatten one out. You got to buzz his tower. You got to knock him back. You got to make him think I'll come in. You got to land an off-speed pitch. You have to give him something else to calibrate to, and that's what Connor's doing. Is he's landed the cutter to righties, he's landed a few change-ups to lefties, and then he's got fastballs in, and now they have to think twice about that. So it opens up the whole plate for him, and he's throwing hard. There are times where it's like 90 to 92, and 90 to 92 is hittable, but 94 to 97 is a lot more effective, and his velocity has been a lot better consistently.
How are you and Coach Glant coaching your pitchers on dealing with, you've seen a lot of really good hitting teams lately, especially they're fouling off a lot of 2-strike pitches. Not getting that third strike.
Yeah.
How do you coach them through that whole process?
That is a magnificent question. It's you have to keep them focused on the task, right? So I want to finish this guy, and that's fine. It didn't work the way that you wanted it to work. You have to stay focused on the task at hand, and that's the only thing you can control is executing the pitch to the best of your abilities. And a lot of times, the pitches that are fouled off, the pitches that are put in play hard with 2 strikes, which we've had an issue with a little bit, right? We kind of swung the pendulum, right, where we weren't as competitive with strikes, and now we're a lot of strikes, even when 0-2, 1-2 counts and hard contact in there, is a lot of times those pitches aren't executed where they're supposed to be at. And so executing the pitch and throwing with conviction, but really just the same thing. Like Tyler Cerny had a really good day today, has nothing to show for it, right? It's like you did a good job, man. You executed your pitch. The guy fouled it off. Don't be a baby. Get your butt back out there and do it again. And then trust your defense. Allow your guys to make plays, and if they put it in play, they put it in play. And these guys are very selfless, and they've done a really good job. I know we have, comparatively speaking, we still have a lot of strikeouts in the league, but we don't have the extreme of it where it's like it's a strikeout or it's hard contact. And so we get outs the way that we get outs, which is obviously a strikeout, but we contact and allowing those guys behind you to play. It's an awesome question. It's something that we battle with them, and you can see the emotion a little bit, get frustrated. It's like, get over it, move on. Like it's okay, it happens. It's when you're playing good teams, and you're right, we have played a lot of good offenses recently. Just like 2 weeks ago, we faced really good pitching staffs in succession, and that hardens you and sharpens you. And just like we talked about, I had a good feeling that after we saw those pitchers that we would have more of an offensive uptick, and you've seen the exact same thing. You've seen an offensive uptick because you saw really good pitching, and so our pitching staff, Braden Reisdorf didn't get better on accident. He got better because he got drilled, right? And Ethan Phillips, the last time he threw against Ball State, got drilled, right? So it's like you have to learn to execute. Then they get a lot better from that. Connor Foley gets a lot better from that. So the hard contact is part of it, but executing with 2 strikes and then having the conviction and the confidence and the aptitude to continue to persevere is vitally important.
9 runs on 8 hits. Seems like there haven't been a ton of games this season where you have a ton more hits than runs, taking advantage of opportunities and not leaving guys on base. What can you kind of talk about your offense for that?
It's interesting you bring that up because I did look at our batting average compared to the league in our rank and our run production. So we're middle of the pack in home runs. We're in the upper 3rd to 4th in doubles, but it's not, we're not hitting a ton of doubles and a ton of home runs. And our batting average is in, the 4th or 5th quartile or range, but we're 2nd in runs. And I think that speaks to the offensive approach and the ability to be dutiful when the time is necessary to be dutiful. Tyler Cerny gets an 0-1 breaking ball, and he stays on enough to get the ball into the outfield. We did a really good job with sac flies, did a really good job of being able to hit a ground ball in the middle of the field when we need to, put the ball in play with 2 strikes. Our two out RBIs, comparatively speaking, Coach Weatherford told me the other day was considerably higher than the 2 out RBIs that we've allowed. So when your batting average is good but not incredible, and your doubles and home run production is fine but not off the charts, but your run production is so high, to me it speaks to their approach. It speaks to like the ability to have at bats with runners on base. And just like the pitches that you execute with runners on base are the most important pitches you throw. Right? We made a small shift this fall, but we pitched primarily out of the stretch in the fall. And we started every inning with runners on base because the most important pitches you throw are with runners on base. So you have to learn to slide step and pitch runners on base. the same thing for the offense. We put them in so many RBI situations. You have to learn to have an at-bat with guys on base. And we've done a good job of that. Our strikeouts are negligible, comparatively speaking. They're not unbelievable, but they're not terrible. And we don't strike out a ton with runners in scoring position. And I think all those things kind of help to elevate the run production. And it speaks to their ability to execute a plan, because we do have a very detailed plan per situation, per guy, per approach. And then we have a very specific RBI situation approach, and it's expected to be followed. The first pitch up and over the middle 15 inches, hit hard in the back of the middle of the field. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it's going to land in the middle 15 inches of the plate. It's hitting the middle of the field somewhere, and we score that run right now. First pitch or not. And those guys done a good job of executing that, and I think it lends to why we've been able to score runs probably beyond the statistics would indicate.
You mentioned... wait.
Whatever you want. Go ahead.
Carter Matheson had 3 more RBIs today, and that's off of a good weekend against Ohio. Have you been able to see him turn the corner after a slow start to the season?
Yeah, he did similar to last year, where he kind of got off to a little bit slower start and then caught fire down the stretch. He's really tightened his swing. There wasn't really a swing flaw. Coach and I were kind of talking. Just felt like there was a little bit of length early, prematurely. You could see it opening in his front side, and he was trying to get the fastball in the air instead of just that double he hit the right center against Ohio was just a thing of beauty. So just a scorch line driver. He's got to stay tight to the ball and be able to stay behind it and use the whole field. And as he does that, he's really taken off. And it will also lend him to more pull side trajectory, right? When you're up to fastballs, you get pop flies, you get beat up. When you're flat to them, you can homer them to your pull side. Or a lot of times, guys homer off speed pitches to their pull side more than fastballs to their pull side. Fastballs usually in the middle of the field. So he's tightened it up. We've done a couple of different drills with him, and he's taken another step and done a really good job.
You mentioned with the MAC about dogpiling, and being a one-bid league, and as was, the horizon when you were there not too long. Where I'm going with this is the Big Ten was that 15, 20 years ago. The Big Ten was the MAC. It was the Horizon League. It was a one-bid league that would get a 4 seed. Now it's improved. Indiana's led the charge in that, but now it's improved to the point where every once in a while a host, it's often a 2 or 3 bid league. Yeah. And IU's led the charge in that. So can you just talk about the commitment the Big Ten put to baseball to get it out of, being a one-bid league and what it is today where everybody's good?
Sure. I don't know. I think there are most years the MAC should be has earned a multiple bid league. I mean, you look at Central Michigan, Kent State, you look at Ball State. I mean, these teams are terrific teams, or teams that could beat anybody. So I think they're deserving of more than one bid. Now, I don't know how the RP always works out, but as far as how good they are, they should be able to do it. And you hit the nail on the head there. The Big Ten has made a considerable investment into baseball, especially in the last 10 years or so. You look at BART Kaufman, you look at the new facilities at Illinois. They just put a brand new $8 million facility. You look at Michigan's facility and their renovations. You look at across the board, the investment both in facilities, in travel resources. You look at coaches' salaries. You look at the commitment in Alston money. All those different things have really helped to drive the Big Ten into becoming, as you said, a multi-bid league and a team that can compete or a league that can compete on a national level. And there are 4 or 5 teams this year that you look at and you could legitimately say could compete on a national level and could be postseason teams. And obviously once you get to the conference tournament, there's 2 or 3 more guys or more teams that always can come in and steal a bid at the end. So it's improved considerably. And it continues to do that. And if you look at the recruiting, not just our recruiting, we look at the recruiting across the board, what Maryland's done and what Michigan's done, they continue to recruit at a high level. And so the future is incredibly bright with the Big Ten, not just at Indiana, but across the board. And it's a very exciting time for us.
The coaching staff has pieced together arms for midweek games, talking about Ben Seiler today.
Yeah.
Was that going to be his last inning of work likely? Or would he have gone out for the 4th if it was a little bit more
We
smoother?
actually were in the middle of that debate as it was going on, and I said, well, there's 2 outs and nobody on. He looks still pretty strong here. And Coach Klein kind of said, well, you know how we do, like kind of one time through. He's on his second time through, and then he walked the leadoff guy and kind of right on cue. We weren't able to get out of it. And it's my fault. Ultimately, it's my fault for not having Adrian up sooner. He should have been up sooner. The 4-1 inning shouldn't have happened. That's my fault. Should have had a little bit more foresight, but I did think with 2 outs and nobody on, we would be able to kind of finish it, and they're a good offense, and we weren't able to. So, I take that one. I kicked myself for about 6 innings after that, and not having enough foresight and managing correctly, and the fact that it ended up being as close as it was is ultimately my fault because we should have done a better job with that.
Would that have been his last?
Well, if he would have got the last out there quickly, we had talked about sending him back out, kind of like, hey, leadoff man gets on, then we would go to Adrian. But it was a coin toss. It was the discussion. If he goes quick out, if he goes 2-pitch ground ball to first baseman, then we probably send him back out for the fourth. If I said, hey, if he walks him here, get Vega hot, and we just didn't get him hot soon enough.
That concludes this postgame media edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. Next up, the Hoosiers return to Big Ten play in a clash of the top 2 teams in the league when the Maryland Terrapins come to Bloomington, starting Friday at 6 p.m. See you at the BART.